So, what if the most profound parts of a life weren't really the outer events, like travels or meeting famous people?
Right, but maybe the inner experience, things like dreams, childhood vision, even just the structure of your own mind.
Exactly. Imagine an autobiography that kind of deliberately glosses over all that external stuff, but dives really deep into those inner worlds.
Well, that's pretty much what we're looking at today.
It is. Today, we're taking a deep dive into excerpts from memories, dreams, reflection. It's often called the autobiography of Carl Gustav Jung.
Yeah, but it's important to say this isn't your typical life story at all. Jung himself was incredibly skeptical about self-portrayal.
He really was. He said he knew too much about the impossibility of self-portrayal to want to venture on any such attempt.
He even called it Agnella Jaffe's project, didn't he? Said he merely contributed. Shows you how much he resisted that conventional memoir idea.
And that resistance, that's kind of our mission today. We want to unpack this really unique perspective.
Understand why he valued those inner experiences so highly.
Right, and how these, deeply personal insights actually became the foundation for his groundbreaking work in analytical psychology, his whole way of understanding the mind.
You'll see how these childhood curiosities sort of blossomed into this revolutionary view of the psyche.
Yeah, giving us all, hopefully, some tools to navigate our own inner world.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Jung's approach was, unconventional, right from the start.
He intentionally minimized those outer events people he met, travels, adventures. Why was that?
Because, as he put it, they just vanished from memory for him. They were only significant if they coincided with phases of inner development.
So traditional biography focused on the external. He found it hollow and insubstantial.
Yeah. And one really striking thing is how quiet he is about personal encounters, even famous people.
He mentions meeting many famous men of my time, science, politics, but then says only a few were really significant.
Exactly. He described them like ships on the high seas, just dipping flags and fading away, especially if they involved requests he couldn't divulge. His really vital relationships, he felt, were just too innermost. It involved others, so he couldn't just, fling open doors that are closed forever.
It paints a picture of someone intensely focused inward.
And central to that inner world was this deep spiritual current. He called the book his religious testament.
Right, stemming from those childhood visions, his scientific curiosity about the psyche, and importantly, his observations.
He saw the crucial part, religious attitudes played in healing, which led him to that powerful insight.
That the psyche is, by nature, religion, pretty foundational idea.
And you can see the roots of this really early on, can't you, in those childhood memories?
Oh, absolutely. They're incredibly vivid, lying in the pram, that feeling indescribable
Or the first time he smelled milk from his high chair, an aunt showing him something outdoors.
They weren't just random details. They were like the first sparks of this percept life.
But it wasn't all peaceful, was it? You mentioned his interpretation of his mother's evening prayer. That's quite something.
It really is. The prayer itself sounds comforting. Spread out thy wings, Lord Jesus, mild. If Satan would devour it, no harm shall overpower it.
But his childhood take on it?
Was incredibly unsettling. He thought Lord Jesus took the chicks reluctantly, like bitter medicine, to stop Satan eating them, and taking them meant
putting them in a hole in the ground.
Yeah. And that terrifying image led directly to that powerful dream of the subterranean god not to be named, this phallus on a golden throne under the earth.
So this underground sort of shadow god counterpart.
It made Lord Jesus never quite real for me, never quite acceptable. It was this fundamental experience of paradox right from the start.
And that dream then connects to the frightful revelation of the Jesuit, the figure in black women's garb.
Yes. His astounding interpretation that this figure was a man-eater on a golden throne coming from that dream image.
How did that affect him?
It deeply shaped his fear of Catholic Church. He felt it was their fault. He stumbled and cut himself in. For years, he couldn't enter one without this secret.
It's amazing how these inner events and interpretations could have such a lasting impact.
Absolutely. And it connects to another key childhood thing, the secret.
The manic. Tell us about that.
He carved this little figure from a ruler frock, top hat, black boots colored with ink, put it in a pencil case with a special stone, a smooth, oblong, blackish stone from the Rhine.
It's stone. And he hid it where?
In the forbidden attic. This secret, he said, gave him newly won security. It was the essential factor of my boyhood.
And he never told anyone about the phallus dream or the Jesuit idea either. They were part of this same private realm.
Right. He just felt there was something else, something very secret that people don't know about. It shows how early he found strength in this hidden inner world, a foundation for his later work.
Then moving into his school years in Basel, he becomes more aware of the outer world.
Yeah.
Social class, poverty.
Yes. Attending the gymnasium made him see the difference. It sparked compassion for his father, the poor country parson.
But less for his mother. He saw her as stronger.
Apparently so. And he noted that this necessity for taking sides between them wasn't great for his character development. It forced him to juggle these conflicting aspects.
And it's around this time he has that huge realization that he's actually two different persons.
That's right. No, one, the schoolboy, struggling with algebra, unsure, feeling kind of inadequate.
And no, two.
Important, a high authority, an old man who lived in the 18th century, connected to nature, dream, God.
It sounds like a really early version of his later ideas, like the persona and the shadow, or the self.
Exactly. It's his first intuitive grasp of that inner complexity. No. One is the face you show the world, the adaptation. No. Two is something deeper, older, wiser.
He also talks about this intense struggle with mathematics, finding a downright lie or a fraud.
Yeah, and parallel lines meeting at infinity. A stupid trick. He felt his intellectual morality just fought again.
It debarred him from maths, he felt. That raises a big question, doesn't it? If the foundations of something presented as absolute truth feel arbitrary.
It absolutely planted a seed of skepticism. It pushed him to always look beyond the surface logic, to seek a deeper, often paradoxical understanding. Became a hallmark.
But being unusual had downside. Being accused of fraud for his essays, that sounds crushing.
It was. Led to a shameful secret of neurosis, but also, interestingly, a studied punctilious, being extra careful, maybe for his own sake.
He felt his unusualness made him seem like he had repulsive traits, pushing him further into that secret inner world.
Which probably reinforced its importance for him. Then came choosing a profession. He wavered quite a bit.
Between science and humanities, he even wanted to be an archaeologist.
Yeah, but couldn't afford to study it where he was. So medicine became a compromise, starting with science subjects.
And a dream helped decide it. The giant radiolarian.
Yes, this vision of a magnificent, shimmering, circular creature in a hidden pool, it was overwhelmingly decisive, he said. Cleared his doubts about pursuing science, his unconscious guiding him again.
And another powerful dream early in his study, the one with the wind and the light.
Oh, yeah. Making slow and painful headway against a mighty wind, protecting this tiny light, his consciousness from going out.
And seeing that gigantic black figure behind him, his own shadow.
Right. The specter of the Brock. It emphasized how precious but fragile his consciousness felt compared to the powers of darkness.
Then came his time at the Berkholtzy Asylum. That seems like where things really started clicking.
It was his true apprenticeship. He was driven by this fundamental question, what actually takes place inside the mental?
Which was different from his colleagues. They were more focused on diagnosis, statistics.
Pretty much. He felt the prevailing view didn't care about the patient's human personality at all.
And this focus on the individual led to some fascinating cases, didn't it? Tell us about the murderess.
Right. He uncovered her secret using his association test. And then, very unconventionally, he told her what he knew.
And she was cured, just like that.
Cured in 2 weeks, able to return to life in order to atone. He kept it secret from colleagues, though. Legal issues, plus he felt fate had punished her and shows his belief in confronting the truth.
Then there was the woman cured of back pain by hypnosis.
Yeah.
But she came back.
Yeah, when his lecture started again, she attached herself, saw him as the hero son she'd always...
That's transference.
Exactly. This unconscious redirection of feeling. It made Jung realize he needed to understand these dynamics better, so he abandoned hypnosis. Needed something deeper.
And the alcoholic son and the power devil mother, he really intervened there.
He did. Called it an act of force majeure. Gave the mother a medical certificate recommending the son's discharge from her company to break that toxic bond.
It showed his willingness to act decisive. But maybe even more important was how he started understanding delusions differently, like the old woman making shoemaking modes.
Yeah, he learned she used to make shoes for a shoemaker who rejected her. Suddenly, the senseless gestures weren't senseless. They were an identification with her sweetheart.
His first inkling of the psychic origins of dementia precox, what we now call schizophrenia, seeing the meaning behind the symptoms.
And similarly with Babette S., her delusions about being royalty stemming from incest.
They had a human meaning, even though they led to her complete alienation. It showed him the depth, the hidden logic, even in madness.
Which led him to insist that therapy is different in every case. He really distrusted docs, stuck rigid one.
He believed the cure should grow naturally out of the patient himself, and then he asked what it means for the doctor to be the real stuff. What's that about?
He meant the therapist needs self-awareness, must first accept an analysis, not just technique. It's an interaction between two whole. Therapist has to have done their own inner.
He also encountered things that hinted at his later ideas about synchronicity, right? Meaningful coincidences.
Yeah.
Like the doctor with no problems.
Yeah, the one suppressing a latent psychosis. Jung ends the analysis feeling uneasy. And then?
He feels that dull pain in his head at the exact moment the patient shoots himself.
Extraordinary. One of many experiences that made him question simple cause and effect. Made him feel the urban world knew nothing about the country world, the real world, suggesting deeper connection.
Moving on, his path crosses with Freud's.
Mm-hmm.
He rereads Interpretation of Dreams in 1903.
And finds it links up with his own ideas, especially about repression.
But that first meeting in Vienna in 1909, the bookcase incident, that sounds wild.
It does. Jung feels his diaphragm getting red hot, predicts a loud noise from the bookcase. It happened. Freud dismisses it. Jung predicts it again.
And Freud didn't like that.
It aroused Freud's mistrust, Jung said. He never discussed it with him. An early sign of their different approaches to the non-rational, perhaps.
The divergence grows with the house dream, exploring those different levels. Rococo, medieval, Roman, prehistoric cave.
That dream, prompted by questions about Freudian psychology's limit. He saw it as a structural diagram of the human psyche.
And the key insight was?
His first inkling of a collective a priori beneath the personal psyche, what he later called archetypes.
So not just personal unconscious stuff like Freud focused on, but these universal inherited patterns.
Exactly. A fundamental difference. The collective unconscious. It made their split almost inevitable back.
And dreams foreshadowed the break too. The ghost of the Austrian customs official.
Representing Freud in Jung's interpretation. A critical reevaluation. Then the dream of the night with the Red Cross.
Symbolizing the come-in split and the inner conflict it caused him.
As these massive inner shifts were happening, Jung felt the need for something solid, tangible, which led him to Bollingen.
The tower, starting as just a simple dwelling, evolving over time.
He felt it was a place of maturation, a maternal womb or a maternal figure, a place to become himself.
Reborn in stone, he called it. A concretization of the individuation process. What's individuation again, briefly?
It's that lifelong journey of becoming a unique whole individual, differentiating yourself from the collective, integrating conscious and unconscious parts of yourself. Bollingen was the physical embodiment of that journey.
Felt most deeply myself there, connected to the landscape, the trees, the waves, even heard phantom sound.
Footsteps, laughter, music, which he later found mentioned in an old chronicle.
But he stressed the importance of the outer world too, didn't he? His family, his work.
Oh, absolutely. He said it was most essential as a counterpoise to that strange inner world. He pointed to Nietzsche losing his grounding because he only had his...
For Jung, family, his medical diploma, these were actualities, proving he really existed, his watchword.
Hic Rhodus, hic Holta, here is roads, leap here, prove yourself in this reality, keep your feet on the ground.
During this intense period, he also wrote the Septem Sermones ad Mortuos. What was that?
A sort of mystical text, like his Red Book. Conversations with the dead, representing unanswered, unresolved parts of the psyche.
And he started drawing mandalas around then, too, to track his inner state.
Yes, from 1918-19, to observe my psychic transformation. He even gives an example. A letter praising his fantasies as art disturbed his mandala, broke its symmetry, showed his inner reaction visually.
His quest also took him travel. Africa, why there?
He was looking for an outside to understand European culture better by seeing something completely different. He realized how imprisoned he was in the cultural context of white.
And that encounter with Acque Biano, the Pueblo chief, that seems pivotal.
Hugely. Biano saying whites are mad because they think with their head, while his people think here, pointing to his heart.
Jung saw it as a truth to which we are blind, made him see the hollowness of European history's conquest.
Yeah, the imposition of will through fire, sword, torture, and Christianity. It was a real confrontation with the shadow of...
And Africa gave him insight into the cosmic meaning of consciousness.
Yes, this idea that humans are indispensable for the completion of creation, that we are the second creator, giving the world objective existence through our awareness of it.
Then India. What struck him there?
The integration of evil into spiritual life. He contrasted the Western focus on morality first with the Eastern view of good and evil as just varying degrees of the same thing, part of...
That conversation at the Konarak temple sounds fast about the obscene sculptures.
Right. Jung wondered if they were spiritualized. The Pandit said, essentially, you have to live out your karma, your life's duties and consequences, your dharma, before you can become spiritual. The images reminded people of their worldly life.
And the secret about the lingam stones?
The Pandit whispering they were man's private part, not just symbols of Shiva. Jung was astonished. Showed him again those different cultural lenses on...
But even on these trips, he was still deep in his other study.
Amazingly, yes. He brought alchemical texts like the Theatrum Chemicum to Africa, constantly comparing his travel impressions with European thought.
And found similarities.
He found both traditions produced the same, similar, or at least comparable insights, originating from the unconscious, universal patterns again.
And that weird anecdote from Ravenna, remembering a mosaic that wasn't actually there.
The Peter sinking mosaic, it really highlights how objective and real his inner visions felt to him, sometimes blurring with external reality.
Then later in life, that near-death experience in 1944, that must have been profound.
A heart attack, a broken foot, led to incredible vision. Seeing the earth from 1,000 miles up, the most glorious thing he'd ever seen.
And his doctor, appearing in the vision, Dr. H.
Appearing in his primal form, telling Jung he had to return to Earth, that there was a protest against my going away, Jung was actually profoundly disappointed.
And the thought that Dr. H would have to die instead.
A terrifying thought, tragically confirmed when Dr. H died the very day Jung was first allowed to sit up. An intense, almost mystical synchronicity.
Despite feeling depressed during the day, at night he experienced ecstasy.
Yes, after midnight. Feeling like he was floating in space, safe in the womb of the universe. A void filled with happiness. He connected it to complex mystical ideas like a Kabbalistic mystic merit.
A huge contrast to daytime, which felt too material, too crude and clumsy, like being trapped.
He said he never fully lost the impression that this life is a segment of existence enacted in a three-dimensional box-like.
And he insisted these visions weren't subjective. They felt utterly real with absolute objectivity.
He described eternity as non-temporal, where past, present, future are all.
So his view of life after death wasn't necessarily literal survival, but more like
a continuance in the world of images, like the land of the dead. But he noted the barrier between living and departed, and that not all such experiences are pleasant.
This also connects to his feeling about ancestors, doesn't it? Being influenced by their unfinished...
Yes, feeling influenced by questions which were left incomplete and unanswered by parents, grandparents, aunts, and impersonal karma within a family.
Like transgenerational trauma.
Exactly. His insight that a collective problem, if not recognized as such, always appears as a personal problem. We inherit psychological patterns, not just physical traits.
His continuous quest led him back to alchemy too, sparked by a dream.
A dream of being caught in the 17th century. Yeah. It led him to study alchemy, which was a momentous discovery.
Why momentous?
He saw the alchemists' experiences as mirroring his own. Their world was his world. It gave substance to his psychology. He saw their work turning lead into gold as a symbol for individuation, transforming the psyche.
And he saw his earlier septum sermons as foreshadowing, especially the focus on paradox, the polarity.
It's the polaristic nature of the psyche, thinking in opposite. That drew him to the Gnostics, too, with their embrace paradox.
Which links to his ideas about the God image changing, splitting even, and UFOs.
It's a fascinating leap. He saw the cleavage in the traditional God image leading to a need for circular symbols of unity as compensation. And he suggested UFOs, whether visions or actual phenomena, might be such.
That's definitely out there. Connecting UFOs to deep psychological shift. Did people just dismiss that?
Oh, definitely drew criticism, pushed boundaries. But for Jung, it was part of the pattern. He even dreamed a UFO projected him, making him wonder who manipulates the apparatus, questioning the nature of reality itself.
It all ties back to his idea of humans as the second creator, right? Consciousness giving the world meaning.
Exactly. Human consciousness created objective existence and meaning, our indispensable place in the cosmos.
But this raises that tough question about good and evil again. If moral codes are uncertain, ethics become
a subjective creative act. And if God is a complexio oppositorum, a unity of opposites,
then truth and delusion, good and evil, are equally possible. That's a challenging thought.
It means confronting the paradox within ourselves, key to real ethical understanding, moving beyond rigid.
So he concludes, we need myths, views of the world that explain our existence.
Yeah, views that spring from our psychic wholeness, conscious and unconscious working together. But he warned, a myth is dead if it no longer lives and grows. Our understanding has to keep evolving.
So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? Jung's whole life seems like this deep commitment to the inner world.
Demonstrating that our biggest struggles, our deepest insights, they come from this rich, often paradoxical, internal landscape. True self-portrayal isn't about the outside.
It's about the subjective, evolving psyche.
And Jung left us with this question. The decisive question for man is he related to something infinite or not?
After hearing about his journey into his own consciousness, the collective unconscious, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What infinite connection might be guiding your life, maybe without you even realizing?
And how might digging into your own inner change how you see your outer